So just gonna drop down to here. And again, remind you guys that Dr. Niles Harrod was a maxillofacial surgeon. In 1995, he said the skull buried as Hiram Smith was Joseph's. And he saw there was a healed zygomatical maxillary fracture that I don't see when you look up a step deformity and a zygomatical fracture and things. You're just not really seeing that happening to this eye, in my opinion. I just am not an expert in that, but when I look at my picture and look at it on the death mask, I think that's why even en masse it sort of just fell into place, because I think it is Joseph Smith and some injuries were definitely falling into place. And then 2007 was Dr. Cope Norwood Cross and all those. So anyway, it was six. One became a doctor, so I'd say seven doctors, and then there was another person who definitely wasn't, like eight, but it was a lot of people agreed with each other in three different publications that this skull, even though it was buried as Joseph Smith's, and it has no facial bone. So someone was commenting at another video and was just like, why is Curtis Weaver's information being silenced? And I'm sorry, kid, or whoever you are. Curtis is so far from being silenced. I just keep seeing him everyone just keep talking about his fixing the sloppy work of who? Dr. Niles Harrod and Dr. Van de Graaff, who this was an anatomist, human anatomist. Just like, what? He's not being silenced at all. These men were silenced. It was just sort of like a magic trick. I'll just say what Dr. Van de Graaff and Dr. Niles Harrod concluded and just put it all under the umbrella of Michael Tracy. When you look him up, he's just a business guy, right? It's a total falsehood, because when you read In Search of Joseph, or he saw that and agreed with them, but he spent thousands upon thousands of dollars, Michael Tracy did, in order to gather together a team of people in 1995 to help identify which skull was whose, and then to use the death mask and create a 3D version to indicate his face shape. And they figured out his facial features. It was an amazing thing. And then when I look at the painting, now I understand there's one thing that was really weird about the pupil eyes. I think they were trying to do what happened in the painting because some weird things were going on with the pupils and stuff in the painting that were like, I was like, wait, they did that. And anyway, so that was the one thing that I did not like in Search of Joseph when I looked at their 3D, and it's supposed to look like a cartoon, right? And especially it's 1995, so he totally could have remodeled his house. Instead of remodeling his house, he got Zygote Media, Dr. Niles Harrod, and Dr. Van de Graaff, human anatomists, and they rejected the measurements, and they explained it in there. It's basically, we can't trust this. We didn't measure this. We didn't handle the skulls and measure the skulls. They got it. And then so I won't say what other people have said, but I think they would possibly agree with that. Don't know, right? But then you've got a few other doctors that decided to go ahead and do that, but at least it was three people. But they agreed with the previous thing, so I don't know how three doctors working together that were doctors that have studied and learned a whole lot more about bones than Curtis Weaver, who's just a linguist, who just taught himself things over 2 years. Like over 2 years, they spent 4 years in medical school. Like they're learning everything. They're learning so much about bones, even though they're not like a forensic anthropologist. But when I read Dr. Niles Harrod talking about the step deformity, and then I see a picture and it looks like this woman's left, it was exactly like this. Like her left eye was just like, it's just a flatter left cheekbone, and then okay, you're just not seeing. Let's look at step deformity. Just look at the pictures of there we go. Oh, you're seeing how like it's just boom. It's just totally changing the shape of someone's face. So Joseph Smith was beat up so bad in 1832 and 1835. So there was one that was a little bit less traumatic looking. But yeah, you guys can just look that up. I don't want to look at anything more graphic. I usually just brought it up, and there's one woman that just already had stitches and things, and just things that it just literally looks like the death mask. Joseph Smith. Okay, so if you look at my website right there, this is the thing. Do you see how this has this angle going on? And then when you look at the death mask, same thing going on. You've got shadows and just so many details, so many little things. Me as an artist, I can see that just line up. And so when I take my picture and mask, that was the thing. I'm like, wait a minute, his nose is pretty level, and his mouth, and it's just it's confusing. It's hard. There's so many injuries here. Like you got a lopsided mouth, got a lopsided nose, you got lopsided eyes. So many injuries. But guess what? When I look at my picture, I see all this. I see all the injuries, in my opinion. But he just looks very injured in my picture. So again, when I do my analysis here in this picture, in this video, or the one that I did before this, I think it's a shorter video, but I just really went en masse and then individually brought the shape of his eyes and everything. But it was just so different. So many problems. He does have a droopy side of the mouth, but he doesn't have a side of the mouth that comes up. Because Joseph had an unconscious smile. He doesn't have the bushy eyebrows. The nose is just so different. And that's one thing that really, really matches up in my picture. You can look at the hairline. Hairline actually matches just that shape. It's just so unique. But the nose, just the shading and everything of it, you can tell. And when I have that there and I put it over there, see, there it is on. I can do this scrolling down. So I sketch that and then I put it on the death mask there. You can see all these wrinkles lining up, but there's even just this line. Okay, it falls into place. All right, on top of that. So he's got the crooked nose. He has that larger nose, and the shape of the nostril really matches a lot. And then guess what I really found out was in 1994. I didn't know about this paper till like 2 days ago. Because I was like, I know Ronald Romig supported the Scannell daguerreotype. They introduced the Scannell daguerreotype in 1994. So it was like 28 years ago. 27, almost 28 years ago. This guy, Ron Romig, so he was the previous archivist. So I think that is who Rachel Killebrew said that he thought. He was like almost 100% sure that the Scannell daguerreotype was Joseph Smith. Okay. And then there This is Michael Street's sketch, but you can even see, whoa, that left nostril, it's really not. When you watch my videos, why I think it's just so important to show a video where I have my sketch and then I put it on there, take it away so you can see, okay, did she really just sketch that well, so you can see what I sketched on the face, and I put it there. I take the layer away repeatedly that is the sketch. And then I do the same thing when I put it on the death mask, put it there, take it away so you can see. So it's only a 90% probability. And so I think that's why they don't have Street talking. He's not in the news. He's not even doing the presentation with them. And he was the archivist with the Community of Christ. And then Lachlan Mackey is an apostle with the Community of Christ. And Daniel Larson, who owns it, is a member of the church, and he's like in his mid to late 70s. And so he looked at it and felt like it was him. And so people just feel like, oh, but he's a descendant, so it just must be. But just even looking at this, you see that shape of the upper lip. You aren't seeing that curve, but you see that in my picture, and you aren't seeing. Of course, they're showing the side of the eyebrow that's thinner. But do you see what's going on right there? That's his hairline right there, actually. So they showed the side that showed more hair, where I think it was pushed forward because he was beaten in the head with a pewter pipe and fell on his head first on his left side. I think that his scalp was moved. That's what I really, really think, because when you look at the other side of Joseph's scalp, like you definitely, his hair is pushed back. Like there's no sign of receding hairline. I really don't see any signs of receding hairline in this picture. Okay, so when you look at that, but you look at all the artwork, it's supposed to be 1844, especially the sides. His hairline is, that's why it's like a magic trick. I don't think they're literally like trying to fool and deceive people, but they keep showing the painting, and the painting doesn't match the death mask, the painting perfectly. A lot of things do actually match it really well, but the artwork, the person who kept drawing and painting Joseph the most was Sutcliffe Maudsley. In his profiles, you can really see especially in the sides, his hairline is going back, but he's brushing it forward, popping it up. So again, you can go to, someone was like, has anyone sketched Joseph Smith? Just go to, so I'm sure you're watching this. This is a new page. And I'll just zoom in here, because this is about as high resolution as I could get. Do you see that hairline? It goes back to there, and you can even see some of his skin underneath there, and especially on this one by Maudsley. They look quite different. I think these are different sides of his face, but I just don't know who owns this. Is called Black Top Hat by Sutcliffe Maudsley, and sometimes he's facing this way when I find it online, sometimes that way. So I would love to see how it just looks on paper, not that it's a forensic sketch drawing or perfect, but if he really is facing this way, as I found on a few websites, this is the left side of his face. He has a thinner eyebrow, and so the left side of his face, in my picture, his left eyebrow is thinner, and the left side of his face has a less hair on the side of his head. Like it's really, yeah. So there is a sketch. We just don't know who did it. It just says it's Joseph Smith, and it says it's 1842. It really looks like this would be, I think this is his left side of his face. I think that is his left eyebrow. And then I think that's his right eyebrow. Thicker. You're just seeing a lot of stuff going on here. Especially this one, there's so much detail on the hair. Like he was really trying to get the individual hairs, and you can see hair coming out of his head, and it's sort of a little bit scrangly, just sort of thinner in a lot of parts, especially right there. It's just going pretty far back. And you see it on the death mask. You see it on here. If we just go there to this page, I'll look at the hairline. I think just even that, there's just too many things that don't match. So this is the outline of his face put onto the death mask, and then I've actually done it where I did it the other way, and it's pretty astounding. But you're seeing I'm doing a double line because that there is hair right there. Okay, so it's just thinner hair. So when I put it on there like that, it follows that line. And then if I just sketch this like that and put that over there, it matches all around here, hits the chin. It just gets to about there when it starts to just sort of, well, it follows this line, of what, anyway. And I'm thinking he had less hair on this side of his head. I think he grew more of his hair. So I think he had this picture taken, well, I mean, before he died. And so maybe a month or two later, even 2 months of growth, if this is the side that he's really parting it there and really growing the hair longer so that it covers this bald spot on the side of his head that Levi Hancock talked about, I think that's really important. And I think I'm going to go ahead and throw on my website how many times he was beat up. Like, that's why I call it theprophetscars.com, because I can see things, and then they're just so excited about the furrow of the brow. You see how relaxed his right eyebrow is, but his left eyebrow is furrowing, and we aren't seeing really blatantly a furrow in his brow. Actually, I'm going to go here because I'm going to make you guys dizzy here for a second, but to show you what I thought my picture would look like if it was as dark. This is her carte de visite. Carte de visite. It's a French person that created it. It's very clear, but her daguerreotype, you almost see no details, and it's very, very dark. And so I show you right down here. Yeah, it's past all this. Try not to make you too dizzy. Right there. So, I'm just thinking here, because I never thought to look for that. But that eyebrow is coming down, whereas this one was really relaxed. You can see the start of a furrow in the brow. So an asymmetrical furrow in the brow, where usually eyebrows, it's usually two. Well, I guess you're seeing one big one like that, but I would think especially like with this woman right here, that eyebrow's furrowing, that eyebrow's furrowing, so you're getting two furrows. And then if you're getting just one, see that? You see that furrowing going on? And maybe it would just pull that up, but you're seeing that in the paintings. So they think they're seeing that here. But yeah, I think you're sort of seeing that going on. And let's go ahead and let's just click on that version. So this is his Victor Cress's duplicate. It's still a little bit more towards that left eyebrow. So it's definitely just a lower left eyebrow, higher right eyebrow. Seeing a little bald spot there, seeing a really sharp angle there. You're seeing this line coming down. And then in my picture, you definitely see a line coming down. So I flipped the perspective. When you look at this, you can see some of these lines. You see these higher cheekbones. But you definitely see how this lip is just The center part is just, this is, I think, light. Again, light is hitting right there and it's just blowing it out. But yeah, he was drug from his bed by his hair. And according to Levi Hancock, it left a huge bald spot in his head. And that's why he brushed his hair forward. And ironically, on this side of his head where there's less hair on that side of the head, he's really brushing it straight forward. And it's not curly. Joseph Smith III was very adamant that his dad did not have curly hair. My father's hair was not curly. Okay. That's curly hair. Whose eyes look just like this? Bertha Madison. Who has really curly hair about that shade? Bertha Madison. Who has that cute tiny little nose just like that? And this same, it's, as an artist, you can just see things that are coming forward. Like this is coming forward more. I don't actually. So somehow on Michael Street's version of the death mask, do you see this shape? I mean, you kind of see something like that on the painting, but when I look at the death mask of the Dipple death mask, I'm not seeing this. Anyway, just whatever. No receding hairline, no eyebrows, tiny nose. This specific part of the nose really is not the shape there. You can see his eyebrows. You can see his eyebrow hairs. They're not there. Because they're not there. They're really thin. They're really light. So, but, those two men that brought you this, and a 90% probability I'm finding out is actually really, that's kind of low. Like you can have a 90% similarity with your next door neighbor. There are differences that I've seen between the death mask and the man's face, and you can see it here. But Ronald Romick, he was the archivist with the Community of Christ, and then Rachel Killebrew sent me an email in August 2017 saying the previous archivist was positive this is Joseph Smith, and she sends me the Scannell Daguerreotype, and I think that was the first time I ever saw it, and I'd been studying my picture all summer. I had no idea of any of these other alleged photos. And it wasn't till, I was thinking, man, these people in juvenile instructor are awful and so mean, until I found how many alleged photos there'd been, and I get why it's just another one. Just another one. And that's literally what the church said about this, but it was Lachlan Mackey and Ronald Romick that introduced the Scannell Daguerreotype to the world. They weren't being as confident in saying it's Joseph Smith as they literally say that here. They just literally say this is Joseph Smith. So you can watch there. There's a Community of Christ, Hidden Things Shall Come to Light, August 6, 2022. So, but that's just showing you it was a 90% probability. And then in 1994, it was Ronald Romick that introduced, so I think Michael Tracy saw him talking about the Scannell Daguerreotype, him talking, and he got to know him and thought, oh, he's such a nice guy, and he just became convinced. But does Michael Tracy have any training identifying people in photos? And neither did the cardiologist, allergy doctor, and gastroenterologist, allergy doctor, cardiologist were the ones that analyzed the Scannell Daguerreotype and said, we really think it's him in Million Shall Know Brother Joseph Again. But I'm hard pressed to say that they have any training. I haven't seen any evidence of them. I think they went to medical school and specialized in cardiology, medical school specialized in allergies, but they did learn a lot about bones. So I think they know a lot. I think they know their bones, but I had to learn a ton about bones just as a CMA. That was a 2-year program, and for some people in high school, it's a another class in high school, and then they become a CMA out of high school. So it just, yeah, Ronald Romig and Lachlan Mackey, who wrote this paper and did this presentation, also believed the Scannell daguerreotype was Joseph Smith. So, you know, and I don't think she's a liar. I just think she doesn't understand or know everything. Sometimes she's wrong, sometimes I'm wrong, and that's why I make so many videos, because I'm wrong about something. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, and I don't hate her, and I don't think historians are stupid. I just think there's just so many of them. Some of them know more than others, and they disagree, and they very publicly disagree with each other all the time, especially in Utah. So I'm just, because they get really passionate about what they think, then no, 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 I think this is the truth. No, 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 I think that's the truth. So this painting, yeah, Dr. Niles Harrod, maxillofacial surgeon. But just even like I upped the contrast so that you could see his left eyebrow, and then I still keep saying I'm going to change this. I should, so because now you can't even see the right eyebrow. So I'll just fix it. And yeah, I won't say everything. I could just start saying everything I've said in all those other videos. And I do work hard on this website. I work hard on everything I work on, and I don't know. I mean, I've just been running into a lot of really rude people. So I've appreciated more people being interested, but I'm also running into just very inconsiderate people too. But it's just how it is. But you're seeing some injuries on this painting that you're not seeing on the original painting. There are differences, pretty big differences, I think, between this and the forward-facing one. But of course, if you're not an artist, you're not aware of the injuries that Dr. Niles Harrod and Van de Graaff saw. You just don't know. If you don't know, you don't know. First time I took an art class, there were so many things I started to see in nature that I just literally didn't see before until it was explained to me. These reflections in the kitchen. I just couldn't stop looking at kitchen chairs because we were learning perspective, and you had to see like how that chair, there's a shadow, but it's a glossy surface in most kitchens, and then you can see a certain reflection. We were trained to see more details, whereas we tend to see things symbolically. If you're not a trained artist, it's just all symbolic, and whereas someone who, you could just look up doppelganger faces. I'd recommend watching this video, because there's a professional face analyst if you watch this in the video, and then she explains, she was trained to, has a PhD, forensic anthropologist, and learned how to identify people in photos. Whereas like a cardiologist, maybe they took a class in that, but I really don't think so. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, have a good day.